Hey guys, it's Dan, Flawedoffroad. Today I am super excited because my Jeep is finally off of the jack stands. Let's take a look. So yeah, as you can see, there's still a ton of work to do. But man, this thing looks good. It's just about as wide as I thought it was gonna be. And it ended up a couple inches taller than what I had originally wanted. But I don't know, I'm just excited. It looks good. I actually climbed in for the first time since I did this, and it was like, oh my God, I need a step ladder. So yeah, just kind of wanted to give a preview of what it looks like sitting on its own weight. Getting her out of the garage is definitely going to be a situation. In order to get the rear tires on, I had to jack it up into the door opener, so I'm seriously debating if I'm even going to be able to get in and out of here. Alright, so if you watched the last video, I kind of just went over some problems I was having. So what I ended up doing right here is I inboarded the axle mounts by 1/2 inch on each side because my shackles were like I was able to connect them, but the shackles were way out at an angle and it was no bueno. I put a new perch on this side. I had originally tried just drilling a new hole in the other one and that didn't work out so well. And then over here on the driver's side, I had to do quite a bit of modifications. I notched out that webbing for that, welded the hole shut, moved it over 1/2 inch, re-drilled the hole, so that's why I got this extra casting. There's a webbing right here that I had to trim some away from, and right there there was a hole for the existing U-bolt. I had to really hog it out to be able to get this one through there. But all in all, wasn't that hard, just took some time. It turned out good. So the width on this thing's pretty crazy, the entire, not even a single part of the tire that's still under the fender, which I don't care about that. There's just something about these wheels that I built that just really set this thing off. I wish they weren't so heavy. They are 154 pounds each. Okay, so also in the last video, I did a lot of talking about the traction bar, and I just got that wrapped up. I think it turned out pretty good, and I'm gonna show it to you. So before we look at that, I used my trusty Yes welder here to weld that traction bar up and weld everything else on this Jeep, and I recently partnered with them to bring you guys a discount code. So if you visit their store, use the code Flawedoffroad, you'll save yourself a hot 10%. Plus most of their stuff has free shipping. Check them out sometime. I'm not gonna get into it any more than that. Let's look at the traction bar. Okay, so this is what I ended up with. Took kind of a lot of head scratching. Obviously, I still got to paint it and everything. This is the bottom bar. That's the top bar. And of course, all these mounts were completely custom in order to, this one sits on top of the truss and all that. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. This was pretty much my first adventure into tube notching. So this was the first notch I did, and I used a hole saw for it. And it worked fine, but it took forever. But then a buddy told me, he goes, dude, just Google chop saw notching and thank me later. And I did, and holy cow, it makes it a lot easier. It's a little bit tedious getting the angles and everything right, but once you do, man, it's super quick. It's like a couple minutes and you're off to the races. So anyway, originally I thought about just putting a chunk of plate in here, but I decided, you know what, I want more practice with this tube notching. That's actually gonna be one of my next videos. I recorded quite a bit of, not really the bar as a whole, but of the tube notching, because I wanna show you how I did it and how easy it was. And just like that, it's painted and back in the Jeep. Now, I did have a little issue with it, which I'm not even gonna talk about it until I figure it out. Let's just say I might need a longer shackle up there at the front of it. And if you hadn't seen it, this was kind of that custom on top of the truss mount dealie that I made. And my favorite part of this is how it does not hang below the axle tube like most traction bars. Okay, so I had some people ask me, what do I have left on the Jeep? And it's kind of a lot and a little at the same time. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit that's time-consuming that I have left. There's quite a few big items that I have left. So the first one is going to be shocks. And you can see I got these Motobuilt towers in here, but they're just tack welded. And same with my lower mounts here. They're just kind of tacked on there. And the reason I did that is I kind of want to find like a dummy shock to put in there so that I can flex this thing out and make sure that the tire's not going to rub on it, that nothing's going to hit before I fully weld it in, because it's a lot easier to cut a couple tacks than it is to cut full beads of weld. So in addition to that, I need to measure for and order some drive shafts. I'm still not settled in on what company I'm using for that. I know there's a lot of good companies out there. I've used Tatton before, but I'm not using them anymore after a situation I had with them. I'm going to call it that. And then probably the biggest thing I need to figure out is the fuel tank situation. I had a modified custom skid plate before, and this thing's only pushed back 3 inches, the rear axle, and right now it's hitting it. But I feel like if I redo that same modification but more extreme, then I might be able to get this fuel tank back under here. If not, I have a 15-gallon fuel cell that I can put in the back of the Jeep. I would actually rather put it under the Jeep and then cut a hole in the floor for the top of it to stick through and build kind of like a false floor over top of it so that I don't have to give up all that space behind the seat. So we'll just have to see where that one goes. Basically, I have a lot of brake lines to redo. My brake system's pretty custom already. I've got like a different proportion valve and all kinds of stuff, and I don't know how all that stuff's gonna act with these bigger axles and the bigger brakes and all that, so I might have to modify some of that stuff. I'm probably gonna put some bump stops in here because I don't want to like over flex these flatter leaves and like invert them or anything. And now the Jeep will have a lot more down travel than it used to have, so I don't think I need like 8 miles of up travel like it used to have. So yeah, like I said, it's a lot and a little at the same time. I only have so much time to work on it, and probably the biggest problem I'm having is that every time I try to do something, it just turns into this giant conflict and problem. Nothing fits right, nothing wants to go together right. I have to make custom parts, all that jazz. So I'm really ready for this thing to just get into like cruise control mode so I can get it wrapped up and get it driving, because it is way too nice out here to not be able to drive my Jeep.
I really want to know what you guys think about how this Jeep project is coming along, or if you got any questions about it. So drop those down in the comments below. Also, if you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to visit that Yes Welder store. Use that code Flawedoffroad, and you'll get a nice 10% off. And on that note, I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for watching.